This wedding was an assignment for my Religion 2 class in Catholic school.
This one's wife. She's bitter. When you live a lonely life, even the days prefer the night, keeping step to the heart's offbeat on the often empty streets. Hate fills the kingdom that surveyed, the innocent turn their heads away. We've come to expect nothing less from the king of bitterness, a chess match using ghetto pawns as the procession rolls along. Passing by in time to thumb the nose, the emperor that wears no clothes. Mark it down and save the date, no way is there to escape. A bitter pill adds to the bitter edge for the king of bitterness. Spread the wealth and take a bite, promised anything you like. If they would look, they clearly see that you were born of royalty. Click your ruby heels, there's something wrong. No way will you make it home. Remember what your mother said about the king of bitterness. You've been stuck, and you have bled to the king of bitterness. Lay down now, you sleepy head. Good night, king of bitterness. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. That was The King of Bitterness by Mike Hauser, which might aptly be described as the Queen of Bitterness and applicable to this one's wife, for she has been described as most bitter, unreconciled woman there is. According to skynews.com.au, royal biographer Tom Bower has blasted this one's wife, following speculation that Prince Harry's visit to the United Kingdom could spark reconciliation with his family after years of estrangement. I think there's absolutely no hint of reconciliation. His wife is the most bitter, unreconciled woman there is, Mr. Bower told Sky News Australia host Piers Morgan. He will be told, in any case, there is no future for him. Is this an accurate description of this one's wife? Is she a bitter individual? In some respects, she absolutely is. Her narcissism causes her, through the revision of history, to be bitter about the experience that she had with the royal family. If one looks at it objectively, what did we have? A mediocre, unheard-of woman who was an actress in the United States. Some people knew about her because of Suits. For everybody else, they hadn't the slightest who she was. She was earning a reasonable living, but her position at Suits wasn't being renewed, and therefore she was plunged into the uncertainty that many in the acting profession have. How would she pay her bills? How would she remain accustomed to the improved lifestyle that she had enjoyed as a consequence of a decent salary that she had obtained from Suits? What would the future hold for her? And then, jackpot, the winning lottery ticket. She was able to ensnare a dopey prince. Unable to recognise what she was, bowled over by her false flattery and lashings of spicy poontang, he fell for it. His own emotional vulnerabilities and emotional thinking conspired to ensure that he was unable to see what it was that was wrapping its tendrils around him. And thus she was catapulted onto the world stage. Notwithstanding reservations, she was welcomed into the royal family. She was given a staff to assist her integration. She was briefed by Harry as to what to expect. She was given a warm welcome by all. The British public, by and large, welcomed her. She had a multi-million-pound wedding that was televised around the world. For this rictus-grinned narcissist, this was pay dirt. Not only was she able to control millions of people, she was drinking in lashings of fuel, both proximate, for instance from Prince Harry, and then also from those tertiary sources that were cheering her on her wedding day, applauding her and hip-hip hurrahing her. Alongside that came privilege. Alongside that came fame. Ideal platforms that would enable her to continue to give the prime aims a good old seeing too. She was made. She was set for life. Except she wasn't. As I have explained to you on multiple occasions, her narcissism was able to get her into this position, but it wasn't able to keep her there. And rather than harness the institution which had given her a massive boost, she fought against it. Because when it told her no, rather than accept that and think of an alternative way of working around it, she stamped a cloven hoof, swore, screamed, ranted, bullied. And thus, more and more tales of her behaviour began to leak out. More and more people saw the signs. There were those of us, such as me, who saw it from a very early juncture. And thus, she was unable to control the institution directly, which caused her to then have to smear it from afar and retreat to assert control from a position of withdrawal. And that has turned her into a bitter individual. It isn't the case that each and every moment she is seething about the way that she perceived she was treated by the royal family. But it will come up regularly, given the fact that her husband will remind her of the royal family by his very presence, he's one of them, and she cannot help but be drawn to look at the headlines about Charles, about Camilla, about William and Catherine, etc. And all of that will maintain the bitterness, because her narcissism will remind her they treated you badly. Even though they didn't, through her distortion field, she believes that she was badly treated. She believes that she was the victim, that she was the one that was made to cry. Her narcissism has rewritten what went on, so she actually believes all of that. It is her reality. If you were to present evidence that contradicts that, it simply doesn't compute. There's something missing within her that causes her to be unable to realize that something different happened. And no matter what evidence you put in front of her, no matter how compelling it is, the narcissism will always dismiss it, deflect it, denigrate it, cast it to one side to ensure that it is her narrative of victim, her narrative of being bitter that prevails. And thus, she has no interest in reconciling with the royal family, save to the extent that she can maintain some form of relations with them, so she can continue to utilize their name to continue to be famous and to make money. If she were to suddenly be friendly with the royal family and all smiles and shits and giggles, that would simply be her narcissism compartmentalizing, but it isn't a genuine reconciliation, and she could soon revert to the bitterness that has been seen time and time again, should the narcissism deem that that's appropriate, in light of undoubtedly further threats to her control that would happen following a supposed reconciliation. She is bitter, and her bitterness comes from the fact that her narcissism tells her that she is the victim, that she was the one that was badly treated, that she was the one that was abused by the royal family, by the British public, by the British media. And thus, that lemony, stinging bitterness continues each and every time the royal family come upon her radar. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.